Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. We will start soon, so please let's wait 1 more minute or so we can just make sure that other attendees join as well. So please stand by. We'll be right back. I can see that a few more people are joining. Let's wait for perhaps 10 more seconds, 20 more seconds, and we can just move forward. So please stand by. Yeah, okay. I think we can move on. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Sergio. I'm a product marketing manager here at Logpoint, and today I'll be your host for this webinar on Logpoint's latest release, in which we're going to talk about all the new features and improvements that we have shipped in the last few weeks. And to help me explain and to show what's new in Logpoint, I have with me my colleague Sikander, one of the most dexterous product owners here at Logpoint. With him, you will be able to witness what's new in Logpoint. But before we go into the details of what's new in Logpoint, what is this release about, let me discuss some practicalities about this webinar. First of all, this session is being recorded, as you might have noticed, because it was mentioned when you joined this Zoom webinar. This way, by recording this webinar, we can share it later with all of you and offer it on demand for those who couldn't attend today, who couldn't make it today. And now, regarding the agenda for today's session, I'm gonna start giving some insights about the release and its development process. After that, as you can just see, we will be talking about some performance improvements. And also we'll talk about usability. After that, Sikander will give you a demo on some of these improvements when it comes to usability, specifically the syslog. Once done with that demo, we will continue talking about some other improvements for those working with multi-tenant environments. And again, Sikander will give you another demo. Finally, at the end, we will hold a Q&A session where we will take all your questions. But perhaps for a sake of a better flow of this webinar, let's focus on questions that are related to these demos, so you can always get more meat to the bone. But if you also have any questions during the presentation, don't wait until the end, please. Just submit your question using the Q&A feature. You can find this feature, you can find the icon at the bottom of your screen. You can just type and send us your question. And now, without any further ado, let's get started. For us, providing quality products is of great importance. And this is something we strive to go for. And so we wanted to give you a sneak peek into how this release was first developed. This, but also all our main releases always go through a 3-step release process. Once a feature or an improvement is developed, it is first tested internally by our employees, by those with a more technical background. And so if we believe it is ready, we move on to the priority access phase. In this phase, we invite customers and partners so they can try it out and give us feedback based on their experience with these new features or these enhancements. By doing that, we just get this extra level of quality assurance that help us decide whether it needs extra improvement or before we ship it for general availability or there's something to tweak. And then we released eventually in general availability, so it's available for all of you, as it has happened with this latest release. So this procedure guarantees that we deliver quality products, as well as we make sure we include all of you, all Logpoint users, in the development process. And using this in process, we bring you this release full of improvements in performance, usability, and also an overview or better overview that I'm going to start presenting now. All right, so one of the main improvements in this release is the performance improvement, specifically when it comes to querying large volumes of data using distinct count type of queries. The first thing we're going to look at is this graph. This graph on the right side, you can just see the difference between one version and the other. In the vertical axis, we can see the amount of seconds it takes to retrieve the count of logs, which is the horizontal axis, right? From hours or timeouts to no different or seconds. This is the main improvement, right? So when you were performing distinct count type queries, in previous versions in Logpoint 7.3, it might have taken you longer, or it might even reach out a timeout. Now it's just like seconds. It's just, you can just see that the pink line is not going much up. And in what use cases you will use this distinct count type of queries, you may ask? Well, for example, you can use it for detection of unusual or unexpected peer-to-peer connections that could indicate potential security threats or unauthorized network activities. Also for analyzing the distinct count type of unique malware signatures detected in the network, for detection, for investigation, distinct connection attempts from different geographical locations. Use cases are endless, but basically our focus is make sure that you have all the results in a nick of time. Let's talk about increased usability, because it's not only about performance. And I know many of you were asking for it. So in this release, we have brought to you the dark mode. We will discuss more about usability in an upcoming webinar in June, so stay tuned. So I'm not going to spend much time on this, but in the meantime, let me quickly go through some of these enhancements on dark mode. This dark mode, well, as many of you might have asked for it, has the ability of providing a more eye-friendly interface, especially for those tasks that require intensive focus, like investigation, right? In addition, for the dark mode, we kept the same color schematic, so you don't have to relearn anything. It just, you know exactly what it is, you are familiar with it, and it's the same color schematic that you have learned and you love. And it takes one click in the preference section just to change it from light mode to dark mode or vice versa. For those of you who are using SOAR, this release will give you also more control to incident responders over playbooks. We have improved how incident responders might make sense of what happens when a playbook fails. And also, incident responders can read and execute actions through sub-playbooks and return to the relevant point in the parent playbook. So we made sure that the flow is easier and very digestible. We have also included a monitoring tab with a hierarchical view that will allow you to see the status of sub-playbooks and see what's going on, so you can easily identify and resolve issues. Other improvements in SOAR include, well, the possibility of safely restoring product credentials, sensitive data, and configurations with encrypted backup of product instances. As well as we have added improvements in the user experience after importing playbooks or working with cases. You can find all this information as well in all our release notes, as well as in our blog post. So now I would like to talk about bringing control over access and log retention. Another thing is that this release brings you the possibility of adding object permission to log sources from the log sources feature. This guarantees more data security and also guarantees that you stay compliant. In addition, it provides system administrators with this granular level of control that will specifically allow them to allow and also to block certain user groups from accessing logs received from specific sources, creating using the log source feature. Moreover, our integration makes Logpoint to support Azure Blob storage. And this update will give you a more cost-effective for a cloud-based storage methods. Also, the possibility of a scale up and down in tiers of storage depending on the volume and the importance of log. So you decide. Now, this is a huge improvement we have released, and it falls into usability that will benefit mostly SIEM engineers, and is that now you get access to more than 50 pre-populated log source templates for syslog. And also there are more to come in the future, so stay tuned. But these templates will help you to easily create custom configurations that can be done only once and reused in other situations. So these template-based systems will help engineers reduce the time that they spend onboarding hosts, and also will give them more control when they distribute the templates to other Logpoint systems. And now Sikander is going to give you a short demo about the improvements in log sources. So Sikander, the stage is all yours.
Sure. Thanks, Sergio. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sikander, and I'm part of the product team here at Logpoint. I'm thrilled to be with you today to introduce the templated log sources feature in Logpoint. And as you'll see in the demo, this feature will enable SIEM engineers to seamlessly configure log sources for collecting logs from various sources. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Great. So I'm already logged into the Logpoint instance, and this is a feature that I was talking about, which is for collecting the logs through templates. So this particular feature comes with, as Sergio has already mentioned earlier, with a lot of templates. So whenever you have to configure any kind of log sources to fetch the logs from various sources, all you have to do is go to this particular screen, click on log sources, and then you have a vast variety of log source templates. So let's say we want to configure this for a Linux or a Unix machine. All we need to do is go to that particular template and select it. And once the template has been selected, you just need to, let's say, like, I'll just put some dummy IP address, enter the IP address, and then all the other things that needs to be, and then you can also change the name as per your requirements. And all the other things that need to be configured will be auto-configured because this is a template that you're using. And the only other thing that you need to change is the routing or to which repo you want to store those logs. So let's say, like, I just want to do it to a default, and all the normalization packages that need to be selected for this log source are already there in the template in the order that they should be in, so that the SIEM engineers don't have to waste a lot of time trying to figure out for so-and-so log source, like what should be the normalization packages that I need to use so that the logs are correctly fetched and normalized. So all that is already taken care as well. And if there is any enrichment policy that you want to apply to it, if it is already created, you can do that. Otherwise, that's it. And then you just need to click on create log source. And once that's done, sorry, just one moment. Looks like this IP address was already in use, and that's why. Okay. So once that's done, there you go. The log source is created, and this will start fetching your logs. So this is a very seamless way, and SIM engineers can actually save a lot of time and effort in terms of creating the configuration for log collection. And as we mentioned earlier, this comes with a wide range of templates. There are like around 50 templates for syslog that we have introduced in version 7.5 of Logpoint. So you just have to navigate through them, and you just have to select the right template, and you can then you're good to go. And in case if you have a scenario wherein you don't see the template, not to worry. We also have an option, a feature wherein you can create the log source from scratch. So you just need to click on create log source, enter the source details, and put all the other information that is required. Most of them will not be pre-populated. If you are doing it from scratch, you may have to do it by yourself if it is not there. But otherwise, if the template is not there, it doesn't mean that you're stuck. You can still go ahead, and you can also create these log sources on your own as well. And let's also say that you have a large number of devices which require a specific configuration, and you want to have your own template similar to what we have provided to you as vendor templates, and you want to have your own template. For that purpose as well, we have given this create template option, using which you can create your own template as well. So there are two collector fetches that are currently supported in log sources. So you can select the appropriate one that you are looking to create, and fill all the details, and just click on create template, and you'll be all set. And you can manage and maintain these templates as required, and those updates can be auto-populated. Whatever updates that you're doing to the template can be auto-populated to the previously created log source using the respective templates as well. So that feature is also there. So this is just an example that I've created here for you, wherein the Cisco AMP template, Cisco AMP log source was created earlier, and then we updated the template. So if there is a new template available, or the template has been updated, then you just need to click on update available, and whatever details have been updated, and that's it. So this, as I was saying earlier, it helps SIM engineers in configuring the log sources seamlessly and efficiently. And so this was through the Logpoint, and for our MSSP customers as well, we have given this feature from Director. So within Director, there is a log source option, and similar to what I've shown earlier, there is a feature. There is an option to browse the templates. The same templates will be available here as well. And the only difference that you will see is once you have selected the template, because Director is connected to a large number of log points, the only difference here will be you need to select the pool in which you wish to create those log sources. So you need to select this the pool and the machine associated with that particular pool, and click on next. And after that, again, like it's the same experience. It's no different from what I've shown earlier. We have ensured that there is consistency on the UI side between Logpoint and Director. So everything will be the same. All you need to do is just enter the IP addresses and select the repo, and that's it. You will get a confirmation of the log source being created. And similar to what I said earlier, if there is no template available, not a problem. you can create a log source, select the machine again. And once the appropriate machine has been selected, again, you'll see the same screen. So here you need to do all the steps manually. Uh, we have ensured that like large number of log sources or have been covered here, but this is like as a backup plan in case you don't find the template. You can still go ahead and do that. So that's pretty much on the log sources. Over to you, Sergio. Thank you.
Thank you for this demo, Sikander. So let me share my screen. Let me put it in presentation mode. But thank you so much. And now we are gonna start looking into multi-tenant environments. Just give me a second so I share my screen again. And there we go. Yes. So as I mentioned before, we're going to talk about more or the focus of this release on bringing control, and specifically on those of you who work with multi-tenant environments. And we're aware that this is of high importance for many of you, especially for MSSPs and large organizations. And one of the things we have done is, at least for those working on SaaS or operating with Logpoint as a SaaS or a cloud deliverer, is we have brought you a solution that will help specifically SOC administrators and analysts alike. And why I say that it benefits both was it's a solution first for SOC administrators as they get a central platform from which they can manage the access of several users across multiple tenants. And it simplifies their work because they don't have to create a user account for each analyst who work with each managed tenant. But as I mentioned, it's also a solution for the SOC analysts as well, because they get this central authentication that they can use to access several tenants with a single sign-on and maintain the credentials for each tenant in a secure way. So it saves them time, but it also they don't have to log in and log out each time that they have to operate across different tenants. And now focusing on Director, we are gonna look into it in a demo, but I would like to highlight or give you a sneak peek on that. So with these updates to Director, we just made easier for system administrators to do their job. They don't have to do this. They don't have to do manual checks periodically to get an overview of the system's health. On the contrary, now Director offers a centralized monitoring dashboard that will help monitor various systems and performance metrics across every single tenant in the last 24 hours. So as they get this data, or by making this data available at a glance to system administrators, they can easily uncover any issue or act proactively so they can mitigate what's causing those issues. And they can observe all activities and detect system issues across tenants and so resolve them faster, right? Based on that, Sikander is now going to show you how you can use this centralized monitoring dashboard in Director. So I will hand it over to you again, Sikander.
Thanks again, Sergio. Super excited to show this feature. So let me share my screen again here. I hope it's visible. Okay, great. So with the Director version 2.5, we are introducing the centralized monitoring dashboard. This is a very good feature, very powerful feature for monitoring all the tenants, tenants in the sense all the Fabric-enabled Logpoint or Director connected Logpoints, which are connected to the Fabric of Director system, right? So one of the challenges that for ID administrators is like to have a centralized, unified view of the health of all the infrastructure. And in our case, it will be the Logpoint instances. It is absolutely important to ensure that all the Logpoint instances are up and running, all the services are working fine. There is no crunch of resources. Like sometimes you may be running out of disk space because a lot of logs are coming in, or a lot of searches are happening in the system, and the memory and RAM, like they are spiking, and you may need to get notified early on to avoid any major incidences or system outages. So what we have done in this version is we have brought all those monitoring aspects, especially from the health check perspective, into a central dashboard, so that the IT administrators or the IT admins who are responsible, or the SIM engineers as well, like who are responsible to ensure the health of the log point and ensure that all the log collection and everything is happening as expected, uh, they're all running up and running and in a very healthy state. So this is the view of the dashboard. So in this demo instances, there are 3 log point machines which are connected to it. So it lists down the machine name, the pools associated with those machines, and the version of Logpoint, the status, and then there are a few things here which I will cover shortly. So the moment you click on any instance, you will see on the right-hand side, there is a pane that that gets populated with summarized information of some of the key metrics. So these 2 machines are in a healthy state. So you see this dot, which is in green color, and also the status says healthy. So there are no issues whatsoever with this machine. However, this machine has some error. So when we click on this, you'll see that there are too many files that are open. For the sake of this demo, I have configured the settings of this monitoring such that like it gets popped up here. But I will show you shortly how you can actually tweak those dashboard settings. But for this demo, you see this error because there is a problem here. Now, what you can do is you can do a deep dive into this machine. As I was saying earlier, it gives you a holistic picture of what's happening from the health perspective, the memory. This actually covers the last 24 hours data. What are the things that are running and consuming the memory, and how's the load, number of files that are open by the applications. And then there is another tab where you see how the log collection is happening in each of the layer of log point machine that you have selected, whether there is any problem with the collection layer, normalization layer, or storage side of things. And then you can also check where the queues are building, if any. If not, like you'll see a very flat structure, right? So this is on the ingestion pipeline. Similarly, as I was saying earlier, if there is any service down, you need to be notified about it so that it can be taken care before it's late or before there is a system outage. So this also gives you a nice view of what are the services that are running. If anything has gone down, it pops up on the summary page that I have shown earlier on the main screen. And then you can also monitor what's happening with the disk, whether if there is any disk that is running out of space. And this is another important monitoring metric, I think, which is to ensure that all the repos where all the logs have to get collected, whether all those repos are up and running and in a healthy state. If any repo has any problem, it gets reflected here. And finally, last but not the least, this is another key feature, I think, which will help in terms of monitoring the log collection. If there are any devices where the log collection has stopped, it's not happening, then you get alerted as well. So these are like, the drill downs. Now let me just go back to the main screen. So here in this particular screen, uh, it is uh, uh, it is possible that there is some activity that is happening in the system due to which you anticipate that there will be this error showing up for the next, let's say, 4 hours, right? And then after an hour or so, again, you get back to the machine and see that there is an error. And then again, you look at this error and realize that, oh yeah, I've already checked this. And it's a hassle basically to periodically see this. So what we have done is we have implemented an option called snooze. So you know that this is going to be there for the next 4 hours. So you just put a snooze for 4 hours and say okay to it. The moment you do it, it becomes healthy. But there is still this error. Why? Because there is another metric which is on the logs, last log received, which is showing as red because there hasn't been log collection for the last X hours. And you know that the machine which needs to send the log through this log source is down for some maintenance activity, and it's again going to take another hour. So what we can do is we can just like go here and snooze it for, let's say, 60 minutes. So the moment we do that, this machine becomes healthy. So if there is any new error, only then again it will go into error. So thereby uh, eliminating the need to periodically check this dashboard for the errors. So you can just snooze them for the time period that you think it will take for them to heal. And let's say if someone wants to check what are the and the moment like this is snoozed and moved to healthy state, there is a condition here saying that this is healthy, but there are few things that have been snoozed. As a result of that, it's showing as healthy, which is not there with these machines, right? So if someone wants to check like what are those things which have been snoozed, all they need to do is click on this snoozed list, which is active only for this machine and not the other machine, because we didn't do that for the other machines. So just click on that, and then you see what are the things that have been snoozed. And if there is something that you need to remove from the snooze list, you can do that. And the moment you do that, again, like it moves back to the state that it was earlier. So as I was saying earlier, it really helps to get a central view of what's happening with all your Logpoint machine, be it in terms of their data ingestion pipeline, or be it in terms of like the resources and lots of other things like the log collections and things like that. So along with this, we also have, this is something that we already had. You can check this tab includes the health monitoring aspects of the director system itself, which was already there in the earlier versions as well. And then the dashboard settings that I was talking about earlier. So not every machine will have the same kind of behavior. Every machine or every pool is unique, because one pool may be high on resources, high on log collection and things like that, and there might be certain machines which maybe not so. That might not be the case, I mean, right? So you can tweak the configurations of those pools based on your requirements, based on the machine type, like when do you want these things to trigger, at what thresholds, be it at the CPU, the memory, all those metrics that I was showing earlier. You can configure it based on the requirements. So it comes with some defaults, but once you've got access to it, you can change this as per your need. So this will help you in highly customizing your settings for each of the pool. And then there is one more option here. So every Logpoint machine comes with a lot of plugins, integrations, and things like that. So if you want to check if you have which version of plugin you have, and if you need to ensure that there is consistency across all the tenants, then this can come really handy. So let's say I want to check what is the universal REST API fetcher version on those machines. So there is consistency, like all the machines have like version 3.0.0. And in case if there is any odd man out, you will get to know about it, and you can obviously like upgrade that to make sure that there is consistency. So this actually helps the users to basically get a view of the different plugins and what the versions are. And then finally, log sources. So this particular feature is to basically get a view of the configurations of all the devices and log sources that are configured on each of those machines. You can get here and you can do a filter on those machines or specific log collection policies or processing policies. So this comes handy, especially when you want to make a change to a log processing policy, but you don't know how many devices or where all it's being used. So if you want to get a view of that, you can just come here and you can just do a search based on that name, and it will give you the list of all the devices that are using those policies. So I think that's pretty much it from my side on the centralized monitoring dashboard in Director Sajia. Over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Sikander, and what a wonderful demo. I think we have reached our Q&A session. So now I would like to hear from all of you, from the audience. So first, let me check and see if we have some questions. I can see we already have 3. I'm going to start with the easiest one. Will the recording of this webinar be available afterwards? Yes, it will. As I mentioned at the very beginning, we are recording this webinar so we can send it to all of you who have attended this webinar, as well as those of you who are not here or couldn't miss it. And so we can post it as well on our webinar section, so they are on demand. Someone else also asked, is this performance improved? I think it was related to the distinct count type of queries, right? Is this performance improvement means more load on the machine? We have detected an increase in RAM consumption. Have the minimum requires changed? Not necessarily. I will say we've exponentially reduced the computational pressure required to perform a distinct count type query. But if you think there is an increase in the RAM consumption, nonetheless, I would recommend you to reach out to the to Logpoint customer support team. They will happily look into your individual case, and they might look into it. But again, the idea is that we have reduced the computational pressure. So I don't know if Sikander, if you have any input or any insight on this.
I think you have covered it well, Sergio. So that is the expected behavior. But in case if our customers are seeing any anomalies or any other things, then please do reach out to support team, and they would be happy to help.
Yeah. Someone also asked, could you let me know if the routing option allows forwarding of event or logs to a remote destination? If yes, what about incidents? Do you know, Sikander? I think they're referring to the template is support for syslogs.
Could you repeat the question again?
Yes, yes. Could you let me know if the routing option allows forwarding of events or logs to a remote destination? If yes, what about incidents?
Okay, so in the log source, I'm not sure, like I've understood the question very well, although like I got what you're saying, Sergio, but let me try to answer this. So using the log source, there are 2 collector fetches that are currently being used, supported from log source. One is the universal REST API fetcher to fetch the logs from APIs, and the other one is from syslogs. So right now, syslog is limited to these 2 collector fetches, version 7.5. Yeah, and 7.4, sorry. And you can with this feature, as of now, you can just fetch the logs and ingest it in Logpoint. So these are this feature supports only that particular workflow. There was mention of like forwarding, if I'm not wrong, that is not currently there yet.
Yeah, I think
Nor
they
it touches on the incident side of things. It's mostly on the log collection part only.
okay, I see. I hope the user have gotten an answer. Otherwise, feel free to reach out again or send a follow-up question. Also, someone else asked, this perform yes. Is there a plan to support cloud features such as CloudWatch, Microsoft 365, G Suite in log sources in the near future? Yes, we have planned this in our roadmap, and we will try to see this being rolled out iteratively in upcoming versions. So, yeah, long story short, yes, ideally, yes. It seems that there are no more questions. If not, then I would like to thank you, all of you, and all of you who have also submitted questions. We have reached out the end of this webinar. If your deployment is on-prem and haven't installed these updates, but you still have some doubts, as we have mentioned before, feel free to contact the customer success team for doubts about these updates, or the customer support team for any doubt related to how these updates are impacting your system, or if they are not, or any other support-related issues. Also, do you want to know more about usability in Logpoint? We are preparing a webinar, as I mentioned before, on this matter on usability. It will most likely go out in June. So stay tuned to your inbox and our social media, so you can, we will send you an invitation, or you can just register from our social media post. And well, that's all for today. Again, thank you very much for attending this webinar and for your questions. And I guess we will see each other in upcoming Logpoint webinars. All right. Until the next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.